My father was a proud man, but one day he found himself rope tied to the back of my mother's power scooter, praying that the scooter had enough battery and my mom had enough steering ability to pull off his rescue plan. I'll share that story in a minute. But that was the day that I realized that I wasn't afraid of dying. I was afraid of that rope. I'm 75, and I know that my days are numbered. But what really bothers me is facing the end of my independence. The thought that one day other people might be making decisions for me. And that scares me, losing my ability to choose where I go, what I do, and how I spend my days. And, once I saw that clearly, I realized something else. This fear isn't exactly about my future as much as it is about retaining my identity. Because haven't we spent our entire lives, adult lives at least, making our own decisions? We changed careers when we wanted to. We walked away from bad situations. We steered our own ship. The idea of not being able to do that anymore feels like, for me anyway, losing myself. But I don't think I'm alone in that. If you're around my age, that's probably a thought that stays in the back of your mind often. And if you're younger, you probably have parents who might be feeling that way, whether they're willing to admit that or not. Either way, I think it's something that we don't talk enough about, at least not honestly. And for me, well, this isn't theoretical at all. I'm there. And I went through this with my parents. My parents, well, they fought it. They wanted to hold on to their independence as long as possible. Naturally, they did. And that left my wife and sister and me struggling to find ways to, well, allow them to stay in their home without jeopardizing their safety. And if you're over 40, this is something that is going to be happening to you if you're not in the middle of it right now. And if you are, boy, do I know what that's like. Scary things start to happen and then mount up. My parents, well, they tried to hide their decline from us as often as they could. Here's the story that I opened with. It's a bathroom story that really got our attention. It was the time that my dad wasn't strong enough to get off the toilet. And he knew that his wife, my mom, wasn't strong enough to help him either. She had been in a power chair, unable to walk for years. As the story was recounted to us, the situation alternated between Dad struggling and then resting, struggling and resting again and again for well over an hour before he finally yelled out for Mom's help. He finally had devised a solution. So he told her, "Go find a rope." And she did. So when she got there, Dad tied one end around him and the other end to the back of her power scooter and waited as Mom inched her way out of the bathroom, taking out the slack of the rope, turning into the hallway. Well, despite several attempts and a lot of Dad yelling and a lot of Mom's tears, this the rescue plan just didn't work. Honestly, I don't know how he ended up getting off the pot, but he did. What I do know is that was a very scary wake up call for all of us. In a way, and in retrospect, that was a funny story. But the indignity of it all, that's what this story signifies to me as I look forward to what might be ahead for me. The coming years that could steal my independence and erode my dignity. I mean, who knows really? And to finish the story, it wasn't long before we had to find them in a assisted living facility. It was a tough sell. And maybe I'll share that story in a future video. But I can't help but wonder if that isn't in my future. Yeah, it's another thing that, well, who knows? You know, my doctor gives me a physical every year. He tests my heart, he tests my lungs, he tests my muscle to fat ratio, my cognition. I'm doing okay, thankfully. And he proudly proclaims that I'm going to live well into my 90s with full independence. But yeah, I can't help but wonder about that. When I look at my strength and agility of just a few years ago and compare it to today, it bothers me. Back issues and balance issues are plaguing me now. The sleep is getting harder. My energy wanes after very little effort. I can't golf anymore. It's just shocking to me how quickly these things go downhill. And so I can't help but wonder what it'll be like in the coming few years. I I train, I do what the doctor says, I work with a physical therapist. But I still have trouble sometimes walking a straight line. And if I'm walking down a hallway, sometimes I'll just bump into the wall. That's frustrating. There are times when I wish I knew what the fates had in store. Will sickness get me? Will my mind go? Will my children have to decide how to care for me? Will I even listen? Or will I be a burden? These things at times haunt me. And is there any really good way to prepare for what you just don't know is coming? I often try to imagine what's coming. I currently have three examples of what could be in my future. Three neighbors that live right across the street from me in three different houses. First, there's Ray. He was 5 years older than I was, or than I am. And he was an accomplished man. He was mayor of our city. But then at age 75, my age, he got prostate cancer. And his strength slowly eroded, and his independence went away until he passed away just shy of his 80th birthday. A long life? Well, yeah, I guess so. But it was pretty difficult at the end. Then next to Ray is Roby. He's directly across the street from us. Roby is hanging in there really well. He's 10 years older than I am. He's sharp. He's a former judge. He's a weightlifter and a golfer. And recently, he got a new partner and a new puppy. And I wonder which one exhausts him more. But I'd go for his life for sure. Then next to Roby is Dennis. Dennis is 20 years older than I am. At 96, he lives alone. He stays active. He drives himself all over town. He remembers everyone's names. And that's encouraging. 3 houses, 3 neighbors, and 3 possible futures for me. And of course, no way to know which one might be my future. We'll just have to see, I guess. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I'm a positive person. I try to see the bright side of everything. And I bet you're that way as well. But we all have our moments of doubt and fear, don't we? I mean, we're human, and humans are imperfect. I don't know how my story ends. None of us do. I don't know whether I'll be strong or fragile, whether I'll need help sooner than I think or much later, if at all. What I do know is this: the fear doesn't get to tell my whole story. Because even as my world narrows, even if some choices are slowly taken out of my hands, the man who made a lifetime of decisions, who adapted, who rebuilt, who loved, who showed up, well, it's my belief that that man doesn't just disappear. And maybe independence isn't just about physical abilities. Maybe it's how honestly I'm able to face whatever is coming, as well as how much humanity I'm able to bring in to whatever comes my way. So, whatever is in store, and despite my episodes of fear, here's my very human wish. I dream of holding steady all the way up till I bump into the finish line and call it good. That's my wish. And if this stirred something in you, whether it's about your own life or that of a loved one, I'd really like to hear from you. You don't have to have all the words figured out. Maybe just a quick sentence, or just share a feeling. I read them all, and I'll be with you there in the comments. We don't have to carry these thoughts and feelings alone. I'm Mel. Thanks for being here with me. And I'll see you on the next video.